And now history on the BBC World Service with Witness. I'm Mike Lanchin. And today we're travelling back in time to April 1968 and a groundbreaking science fiction movie. Stanley Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey. Released in the US on April 3rd, 1968, it combined powerful visual effects and sound in place of dialogue, stretching the limits of traditional cinematic storytelling. Nowadays, it has near cult status amongst movie fans. Keir Dullea played the lead role in the film.
I'm very proud to have been in this iconic film. You know, I've done 30 features, but it's the one most people want to talk about. And I must say that if one has to go to one's grave with only one great film, one could do a lot worse.
Back in the 1960s, Keir Dullea already had 6 feature films under his belt. But even he was stunned when he got a call from his agent.
And he said, well, you better sit down because you've just been offered the lead in Stanley Kubrick's next film. It was out of the blue.
And at the time, what was the general view in the industry about Kubrick?
He was already considered one of the top American directors because he had done Dr. Strangelove and Lolita and Spartacus. He'd done extraordinary work by then.
For 2001 A Space Odyssey, Stanley Kubrick teamed up with the renowned British sci-fi writer and keen proponent of space travel, Arthur C. Clarke. Together they wrote the film's screenplay. It took them about 4 years to complete. Keir Dullea was to play the lead role of astronaut David Bowman, but when he first saw the script, Keir says that he was slightly taken aback.
What was different about it is how little dialogue there was. 85 to 90% is a visual experience. You know, we didn't have a lot to say in our section of the film, and how do you begin to show on the written page what ended up being this film?
The film opens in the African desert millions of years ago, when a group of apes discover a giant slab of rock, a mysterious black monolith that emits strange signals. The monolith teaches them to use a simple bone as a weapon against a rival group of primates. Millions of years later, the monolith appears again, this time to scientists travelling to a space station. A US spacecraft is then dispatched to Jupiter to try to discover more about the slab and its strange powers. Keir Dullea is one of the lead astronauts on board. Stanley Kubrick's use of classical music as we see the spacecraft travelling through the darkness again defies the traditional cinematic approach to sci-fi. There's a lightness to it that belies the fact that the astronauts are now heading into the unknown and to near certain death. Once again, there's sparse use of dialogue and little interaction between the humans on board. The film was shot at MGM Studios in England, where Kubrick had a huge structure built to represent the inside of the spacecraft. It weighed around 40 tons.
If you can imagine a Ferris wheel like you find in a fun fair, and build your set on the inside surfaces of that Ferris wheel, it was extraordinary. It was like something beyond Disneyland. I mean, it was, I'd never seen sets like them.
And for you as an actor, how was it working on such a huge set?
You know, I don't think I have to tell anybody that there was no such thing as computer-generated special effects. Everything you see in 2001 was done physically. There's an early shot in the film. You see Gary Lockwood, or Frank Poole, the other astronaut, eating upside down at the top of the Ferris wheel. So in the hub of the wheel, which is also in the same shot, you see me enter, and I climb down to the bottom floor, get some food, and then seemingly, Gary Lockwood still being seen in the shot, I seem to walk or ending up upside down next to him and sliding into a seat next to him. And then they cut to the next shot. Well, how that was done was I obviously didn't walk upside down to him. Gary Lockwood had a hidden harness holding him upside down as he ate, and they just revolved him down to me, and I just walked in place.
And as with many of the scenes, it was all done in one take. There are many aspects of the film that broke new ground and were way before their time, not least Kubrick's treatment of artificial intelligence, in the form of the spacecraft's computer named H.A.L. With its smooth male voice, H.A.L displays a range of human emotions, both good and bad. And its complicated relationship with Keir's character is a fascinating study in tensions and unspoken aggression.
I think from an acting point of view, the most interesting scene for me emotionally was the scene where I'm taking H.A.L apart.
I can see you're really upset about this. I honestly think you ought to sit down calmly, take a stress pill and think things over.
H.A.L has killed off the rest of the crew members, and now Dave, enclosed in his spacesuit, breathing deeply inside his helmet, tries to fight back.
It kind of reminded me, I don't know if you're familiar with this, an American play based on a Steinbeck book called Of Mice and Men, in which a man is forced to shoot his dumb buddy so he won't be lynched by an angry mob for something he's done. And taking H.A.L apart in a way was emotionally a little like that.
I can sing it for you.
Yes, I'd like to hear it, H.A.L. Sing it for me.
It's called Daisy.
The final 8 minutes of the film have become one of the most talked about scenes. Bowman is seen walking through a room in a neoclassical house in his astronaut suit. Then we see him lying on a bed, slowly aging, before finally appearing as a fetus floating through space. It's as if director Stanley Kubrick has now brought things full circle, from the human evolution that began with the apes at the very start of the film.
I think Stanley, he didn't want to become too specific about what the meaning was.
It opened to not very good preview screenings, but later the critical acclaim was very, very positive. Did you have a feeling at the end of filming, at the end of shooting, that it was kind of a feeling of relief?
I knew that I was in a great film, and I do a lot of autograph shows, and what amazes me is that the preponderance of fans that weren't born when the film came out that come and want my autograph and want to ask me about the film. It's holding a place in history, and I'm very proud to be a part of that history.
The actor Keir Dullea, star of 2001: A Space Odyssey, was speaking to me, Mike Lanchin, for this edition of Witness.